I want to talk about why UV unwrapping is so difficult and why it kind of doesn't make sense and why it always feels like you're doing it wrong. I think this is an important topic for beginners to understand because here's the thing, we all start off doing this and we're all kind of guessing like, am I doing this correctly? I don't know. Now there's four main priorities I want to talk about here with UV unwrapping. And here's the thing, these are all important, but at the same time, the truth is they kind of fight against each other. Priority number one is you want to reduce stretching and squishing together. You want things to be nice and clean. Two, you want to reduce seams. This is pretty obvious if you've done this before. You don't want to run a generator through it or start painting things and suddenly you just see a line going through it. That's obviously not good. You'd have to do extra work to clean that up in Painter or whatever software you're using. And three, you're going to want to keep things nice and straight as much as possible. You will find people online who will talk about concerns of not wanting their UVs to be angled, not wanting them to go against the grain of the pixels, meaning they want them to be perfectly straight up and down or left and right. And then four, last priority, is just simply best utilization of the UV space. You want to have things be nice and packed in there and not have obvious big gaps and holes in your UV layout. Now here's the problem, all of these things go against each other. Let's look at 1A here. You've got like this like pipe shape, like a handle shape, kind of an elbow shape. And you see on the right here, it's laid out. This is a Rhizome UV screenshot here. The red and the blue, they indicate that something is stretching or switching, like things are too close or too far apart. But if it's gray, then everything's perfectly clean. So what you're seeing here is it's a nice rectangle, it's all straight, it's making good use of the space, but there's a little bit of red and blue. And you can even see on the left, there's a little bit of warbliness to that checker pattern there. 1B, in this instance, I cleaned up all that stretching. There's no red, there's no blue. However, now the checker pattern doesn't make any sense. It's at an angle. The UVs are definitely not completely straight, and it's nowhere near as good of a utilization of the space. Now in 2A here with this crate, you see with this layout, with the things I have selected here, what's good about this is it's kind of clean, right? You've got some nice straight UVs, there's no stretching, and there's a very good utilization of the space. Everything's nice and compact. But maybe the con is that there's maybe more seams. You look at that and it's like, well, they can probably use fewer seams of that, right? Now with 2B, what I did is I just welded them together. So now you have way fewer seams. You have the fewest seams possible, but now the problem is it's kind of at an angle. There's no red, there's no blue. It's not stretching in any way, shape, or form, but it's not nice and straight. You're gonna have maybe problems packing this in. It's not a good utilization of the space. Now with 2C, what I did here is I just straightened things out. So now it's nice and clean and straight. It's maybe slightly less optimized, but again, you're not seeing any obvious red or blue here, so only very slightly. And there's only as few seams as possible here, right? But now here with 2D, what I did was I cut it in half once, and even though I created one more seam, notice how this is a much better utilization of the space. So again, with all of these, none of them are perfect. They all have pros and cons to them, and that's perfectly fine. Let's go on to the next one. This is a different type of crate here. These are all models from a JRO Tools modeling pack, by the way, that I purchased. Now with this one, this is pretty nice and clean and compact. You see, is a good use of the space here. But maybe you look at it and you're like, yeah, but you can reduce some of those seams. Like what's with those things, those like small areas at the top there, like above those two giant rectangles? You can probably seam those in, right? You can weld them in. So I did that here, and what you see here is fewer seams. But by putting them all together, the weakness here is that, well, it's kind of a big clunky shape. And then again, it makes it harder to utilize the space. And if you look at the top right corner on the right side of the UV layout, there's actually a big wide open gap there. So it didn't utilize the space as well. So again, neither of these is perfect. Now let's look at example 4. Now this is kind of kind of an end of a cylindrical-ish shape here. And again, you see this blue area where you can see it's a little squished-ish. It's a little warbly. But what's nice about this is that it's clean and straight. If you look on the right, that shape there in the middle, the top and the bottom of it are nice and clean and straight across. Again, people will be concerned. Things that I've heard online is that people are concerned about either the texture coming out too blurry or too aliased and jagged looking if the UV islands aren't straight across and they're not going with the pixels. So that's generally a good priority. And then again, just if you put a generator through it, it's like, okay, is it going to come out weird? Is it going to come out at an angle unintentionally? Now with 4B, what I did is the top of that section is still straight across, but at the bottom, I went ahead and cleaned that up, so all that blue is gone. That's all cleaned up. But again, now the con there is that it's not perfectly straight across. And it makes me wonder, is it going to be an issue? You never know. You probably have to go into texturing and you probably have to see what it looks like. Now with 4C, with this one, I just went ahead and made it perfectly clean on both top and the bottom in terms of the stretching and squishing. There's no red, there's no blue, but now again, it's not nice and straight and you're not utilizing the space quite as much. In this example, it's not harming anything with the space. It's still in the same area though. Okay, now here I am in Substance Painter. I have all 4 of those models here in Painter. As we see, I've done here is I've got this carbon fiber texture, and I have, see these were example 1, 1A and 1B, and you see right here, if I paint across there, you can see what was going on here. This was that example where I cleaned up the stretching, but it's kind of in this wonky shape here. And with this one right here, see, just a nice simple rectangle, very nice and clean, right? With this one here, notice how the pattern makes so much more sense. Like from a distance, it looks fine. And yeah, if you remember, there was a little bit of wonkiness here. Like maybe right up close, you can tell like, okay, there's a little bit less of a space here than there is here and a little bit more here. From a distance, it's probably not going to be an issue. If this was a really important object like a gun in a first-person shooter and this is the back of it, you might want to do something about that. But here it's probably not an issue. But with this one, because of the super wonky shaping, look at the pattern. It doesn't really make sense. You got this here, this here, this here, this here, and this here. So this is giving you much bigger of an issue. And on top of that, again, this is going to be harder to fit in the space. So even though this one had a little bit of that red on it in Rhizome UV, it's very cleanly laid out, and you can just see how this pattern is making sense going across the whole thing. So in this instance, I would say this one wins out, but that's just my opinion. Now here, with these here, see which one we have here. Got this one, as you can see, straight across, all together. This was the 2C example that we did earlier. So with this one, we go here, here. I'm just marking it so I can see what it is. See, okay, I got this piece here, 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 here. Obviously, this layout doesn't make any sense with all these gaps in it. I just did this for the sake of just for the sake of learning, for demonstration. So now, what you're seeing is all of these are in individual spots. So the problem with that is, of course, I have a seam here, and you'd have to deal with that. And if it's a repeating pattern like this, that's kind of an issue. If I was just painting across this, it might not be a problem, and I can paint it and I can fix it, no problem. But now with this one here, there's no seam here. There's no seam here. There's a seam here. So then there's not going to be a seam here. So in this instance, this makes a lot of sense. And I'm not noticing any issues by the fact that we kind of shoved this all together. Again, if you go here, it all looks nice and clean. But again, in that other instance with the 2D, I did chop it up in half, so it did, manage to fill in this whole space really nicely. So again, there's pros and cons to all of it. Now here with this box here, this was the 3A and 3B example. Now again with this, we got this here, and this here. So you're looking at this whole thing, and I welded it together there, and I welded it together there. The only issue with this at all whatsoever is maybe it's a little less ideal in terms of packing in the space, but there's hardly any seams at all. It's the lowest amount of seams you can possibly get with that. Whereas here, it's like, okay, well, let me see here. Blah, blah, blah. You're going here, you're going here. You're getting a seam all the way around here. Whereas with the other one, it's like, okay, well, we can put it together at least somewhere, like right there and like right there. There's no seam here. Go to the other area. It's like, where was this one at? I think this, yeah, it was on the top. So you're reducing seam. And then right here, it's probably not as much of an issue, but down here, at least it'll eliminate one of those seams. But then again, you still have to have a seam here and you still have to have it here. So it's like, okay, well, what are your priorities? It's never a perfect answer. You know what I mean? So if you're trying to learn unwrapping, my point here is if you're thinking, I don't know what I'm doing, what's the right answer? You're not alone. There is no objectively correct answer. There's always going to be a little bit of subjectivity to it, and you're not crazy. Now this one, this was obviously example 4 with those cylindrical shapes. We have this one right here, which is the one at first where it had the hard edge on the top and the bottom. Remember that there was definitely some hard blue going on there. But you notice here, it's like, does that look bad to you? Looks fine to me. You're not really seeing much of an issue, even though in Rhizome it looked pretty blue. Up here, it looks pretty fine. And you have the advantage of the straight edge here and the straight edge here. It looks fine. With this one, let's see, this is this piece right here. It's the one where it was straight at the top, but I cleaned it up down here. Again, you know, it's nice and perfect there, but again, do I see any issue in terms of like, is there a jagged edge look, or is it too blurry? I don't know, you be the judge. I mean, it's on YouTube, I don't know how clearly you can see this. But anyway, on this one, this is the one where we just went ahead and let it be curved out, and then, but with this one, the advantage was no stretching, no squishing at all whatsoever. Again, just look at it and use your best judgment. I know, again, it's like I'm looking at it and it's like, does it look maybe a little blurry to me there? Maybe a little bit? But it's like my eyes are playing tricks on me and I'm not 100% certain. But I'm convinced that with all 3 of these, it looks fine. It's like, are you really gonna see that much of a difference? With this one right here, I think that was the one where there was the biggest difference overall. So again, you've got your 4 priorities. You want to have as little stretching and squishing as possible. You want to make sure you have as few seams as possible. You want to have things nice and straight and clean as possible, and you want to utilize the space as good as possible, but it's never going to be perfect. And if you're sitting there frustrated, like, I don't know how to make it perfect, what's the correct answer for this? Well, you're not alone. It's never going to be perfect. There's always going to be some subjectivity to it. Don't worry about that. Do your best. And there's never going to be any substitute for taking it into your texturing program and just see what it looks like. And also take a look at other people's UVs every now and then. Like, again, I got these from a JRL Tools modeling pack. So this is an opportunity for me to just look at a professional modeler and how they would unwrap these things themselves and just compare it to some of the tendencies that I would have to do. Just keep all 4 of those priorities in mind, because maybe you might just have a tendency to prioritize one over the other and you might not realize why all 4 of them would be important. And I hope that helps. Hey everybody, Scott here real quick. I just wanted to say thank you so much for watching today's video. And if you found it helpful at all, please consider sharing it with an online community of some sort so that other people can benefit from it as well. That would absolutely help out a small channel like mine. Thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing, and take care.